Really Big Show with Jim Czek and Ian Burns.
I'm Jim Czek. Ian Burns off on holiday. He'll be back on Monday. But with me, Corbin Chivers, a Fraser Valley realtor and friend of the show. You watch the show. Thank you for that.
Huge fan of the show. It's an honor, Jim. Thanks so much for having me on today.
And we're having you on because you're a Fraser Valley realtor, and you got your pulse on the your market. Your hand on the pulse of the market down there in the Lower Mainland. And this BC condo bailout, tough to stomach, no?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem very fair now, does it?
Yeah, selected few. There's 2,200 condos that are sitting there. They've been sitting there for a while, right? And it's kind of like when the market was hot, when immigration was going crazy, they were building these towers like crazy. Some of them selling out, even in Kelowna here, some of them selling out in a half day, right? I mean, there were lineups and some people buying a handful or more each, right? Because these are like literally investment properties when you couldn't find rental properties. So everybody thought it was just like a blank check. You know, you buy 5, 6 of these and you multiply your earnings. But when they cut back immigration, the music stops and there's not enough chairs. And then so the developers got caught with all this inventory. And they're not really saleable units, a lot of these, for like the average family, are they?
No, that's right. So developers basically built a pile of condos. And currently in Vancouver, there's approximately 2,200 condos that are not sold. And rather than those developers having to lower the price to today's market value so that they could actually sell in the market, in the free market, and they'd have to lower them probably by about a third to be fair. And this is how the market would work. They would lower them and they would sell. But instead of that, they've lobbied the government really, really hard. And so they've got the government with our tax dollars now basically stepping in, and we're going to be buying those condos, Jim. Not individually, but with our tax dollars. And we're saving them.
Hopefully there's enough pushback because David Eby's even waffled a bit and said, well, nobody likes it, then we won't do it. And hopefully...
Yeah, he kind of threw... Oh, sorry, I was going to say, just like you said yesterday on your show, he kind of threw Carney under the bus after Carney threw him under the bus.
Yeah, I can't see this having much political support or public support. It's got a lot of political support, but I can't see it having much public support because it's a tough pill to swallow for people.
Well, in my industry, I mean, it comes down to fairness. I mean, a lot of people, regardless of which side they're on, left or right, I mean, you're getting both sides of people in my industry right now saying that this just comes down to fairness. So rather than the government, rather than these developers having to follow regular business and having to reduce their prices, we're coming in and any way you want to package it up, they're calling this affordable housing, but this is a condo bailout. This is a direct developer bailout, and it's not everybody. It's only select developers. So they're going after these some of these big developers in Vancouver. I'm not going to name any names, but when it comes to fairness, I have lots of people in this space who are builders and developers themselves. And if I had a friend that went to go build, say, 50 townhomes tomorrow here in the Fraser Valley, and let's just say they built them and bought the land at the peak of the market, and then they moved forward to sell them, and the market crashed as it has, and they weren't able to sell them, that guy would just go bankrupt. Now, there would be no bailout, no savings. That would be completely, they'd have to drop them to the market price to sell them. Now, in this situation, they've been lobbying hard for this, and all the profits that these companies have been making, these builders for the last 5 years, record quarterly profits, they've capitalized all those profits, yet they're socializing all these costs that they're having to incur by not dropping their prices to fair market value and selling them. So my question is this. If you probably saw a lot of the interviews with the government on this, they were asked directly, you played it on your show, are they going to be buying these units for under market value was the question. And after that very stumbled answer from the government, they said, yes, they are. So here's my question, Jim. If they were going to be able to buy these homes under market value, why don't these developers just sell it to us under their list price and at today's market value?
Yeah, so I've sent a proposal actually to Pierre Polyev, and I said, well, if the end goal, like Carney said, it's not about the developers. The end goal is to get first-time home buyers into the market, which is, that has been the struggle in Canada, and most of that has to do with the down payment. Canadians, most of them can make the mortgage payments, but they can't do the down payments. So then just do second mortgages back in the old day. you'd pull a second mortgage on the property. The government could back the second mortgage, and then you're not actually giving money. You're just putting a second mortgage on it. Maybe make that start payable in 10 years or if they sell the property. So they got a second mortgage on the property. Then just let them go into the free market. If they want to buy that small condo, great. If they want to buy a brand new house, if they want to buy a used home, and it feeds the market then, right? It's not going to
That's right.
one or two benefactors. It goes, then that's the Corbins out there that can go out there and sell them a property over here. Or if they want to live in, you know, 100 Mile House, or if they want to live in Kelowna, or if they want to live in Langley, they can go and pick that, and they got a second mortgage. They can do a first-time home buyer, can use a second mortgage. That makes a lot of sense, right? And then the taxpayer's not on the hook. It allows the free market to operate, and it gets a ton of free market. So I don't know. That's why I sent it to him. So it takes away their ammunition. Oh, this is all about, you know, this is all about helping first-time home buyers. That seems odd. That it just seems that the biggest benefactor, which is pretty obvious to see, is the condo developer right now.
It's the condo developers. It's the financiers. You know, if you look at what they're doing and the way they're framing this for first time home buyers, I think you might have seen this on Monday. They started talking more about it. But their goal with these homes that they're buying, at least a large percentage of them, are to turn them into what they call rent to own. So the way, just for your viewers to understand, a lot of people have heard this term before. I get asked about it. What is rent to own? Well, to put it in the simplest of layman's terms, that's where, say you were to rent one of these, dog crate condos from one of these developers. If the regular market rent was $2,000, rent to own would require you to pay the developer, or maybe the government in this case, $3,000. So you're paying an extra 25%, 30% on your rent every month. And why would anybody ever do something as silly as this? Well, what they're doing is they're buying they're renting that property with an agreement that says they could theoretically buy that property in said number of years, 2 years, 5 years. And to buy that from the developer, or maybe the government, whoever owns it, what they have to do is they have to come up with the down payment. So the rent to own is the people who own the place are going to charge a higher amount of rent. They're going to take the differential of market rent and the extra that you're paying, and they're going to be the trustees of your money, if you will, and be good by saving it for you, because you're too frivolous to save your money, I guess. And so they save the money for you, and at the end of your term, you've got an agreement where you can purchase that home with the down payment that's been accrued from your extra rent that you're paying. And let's say that property's gone up in value. Well, maybe that could be a good deal because you're buying it at the property price that you originally agreed to. But let's say realistically that price goes actually down. Now you've got renters who put extra rent money down to buy a property from the government in a market that's already falling, that had to be bailed out by them in the first place. And now they're having to buy back in as somewhat of an investor, thinking that they're going to pay or eventually become an owner one day. So the whole thing stinks, Jim. It's just not a very good system.
And what you described is another bureaucracy, and the government loves bureaucracy, so they'd have to create a whole new bureaucracy just for that. And the other way would be a lot simpler. And I don't think they'd like the other way either, but what that would do is make them walk away from their thing where they're saying they're trying to help first-time home buyers, because that's just the smoke and mirrors for bailing out, condo developers.
Well, if they didn't bail out the condo developers, Jim, here's the thing that us realtors talk about all the time, and it's the number one of the top topics is, let's just say they didn't bail out these developers. What would they have to do? Well, they'd have to start reducing their prices, like you and I would if we were trying to
fire sale them. Yeah, fire sale them.
Fire sale them. So what you'd have is 2,200 new sale prices that are probably about a third less than they think they should be based on the peak of the market when they bought these or built these places. And the condos wouldn't go anywhere, by the way, Jim. They'd still be there. They wouldn't fall into the ocean. They wouldn't collapse. They would actually be homes that people could still rent. And these developers would have the consequence of going under, which, God, I don't want anybody to go under. But when you measure the balance approach here, I mean, your developers are getting a free ride, and us taxpayers are basically giving them the giant golden ticket to socialize all their giant record losses that they'd have to actually absorb today.
And let's remember that they were making scads of money before the chairs got pulled out. And a good example is a car lot. When Ford and GM have their cars on the lot, there's a carry cost, right? They pay the interest costs, and same thing as the condo owners. They're paying a carry cost. They're paying property taxes. They're paying to heat it. They're paying all these. Plus, they're probably paying interest on the loans that are mortgage these or whatever, finance these properties. So they have to lower the price, just like the guy at the Ford dealership, right? If the truck's not selling, if the 2020s are coming in and then you still got 2019s, you got to lower the price, right? You got to
Gotta
start
lower the price.
You got to start blowing them out, and at some point, market equilibrium will hit, right? Maybe that's 20% lower, maybe it's 30% lower, but at some point, people say, "Hey, that's a pretty good deal." But I think on a lot of these, they just aren't good properties. Like, I mean, even if they lower them, so I think you're going to take advantage of first-time home buyers by the government saying, well, here's your first-time home. And the guys are like, I don't really want that. Oh, you can move up later, right? you can move up later.
Yeah, you can move up later. You always upgrade, right, Jim? If the market goes up, that's the thing, right? So a lot of people ask me, why is there so many condos listed? Is it just simply because they're way overpriced? So it's true, they're way overpriced for what they would be in today's market. But why are they overpriced? It's because the market stopped wanting to buy what they're calling these smaller copy and paste or dog crate condos. You've heard it all. And the reason why these things were built in the first place, Jim, is because when the market was ripping, when the market was at its peak, developers were able to go in and buy these properties for prices that were going up in value over and over and over again, and making money hand over fist. So now when you've got all this inventory, they were selling to investors, I should say, Jim, is the big thing is why they were selling to the end user was an investor, or the buyer, was an investor. And because the market was ripping, you had these investors come who were making money per month on cash flow because they could rent it for more than their expenses. Interest rates were low, if you remember how low they were. And number two, they were able to buy it and watch their appreciation happen almost overnight. They were buying in a market that was
flipping
hot.
them too. Yeah, just flip them.
Flipping them too, right? They're just like you said earlier, Jim. People are buying them and selling for huge profits. But now there is not the investor buyer in the market. There's actually zero people out there pretty much going in Vancouver saying, hey, I want to buy a condo to lose money per year and lose money per month. Nobody wants to take that bet. So for those reasons, that style of home, Jim, those dog crate condos, they're extra high inventory in relation to what the market needs. So you've got all these copy and paste, very cookie cutter one and dens and one bedrooms that are just sitting there that would be perfect ideal in a market for renters and for tenants. But right now for the end user, you're not seeing that. So that's why they're not only having to decrease them in terms of for the prices have come down, but these specific types of units have come down even more because they're the least desirable units that anybody wants to buy.
Just turn them into hotels or turn them into Airbnb condos. David Eby, do you hear that? Turn them into Airbnb condos. Turn them into whatever you let the free market decide, because putting it on the taxpayer is just, especially when the taxpayer is already, near the end of their wire. They can't afford. We have a hunger crisis in Canada. We can't afford any more bailouts for the rich and the elite here, because they made scads of money when this market was red hot. I remember, like I said, in Kelowna, there's developments here selling out in half a day lineups, right? Half a day lineups, and they were, each development went from $500 a square foot. The next development that came in was at $750. The next one was at $1,000. I know in Vancouver it's even more exaggerated than that, right? It's, I think the floor was $1,000, then $1,500, and some of these were selling for, upwards of $2,000 a square foot. But they're not really built for families, though, right? They're not really built to raise a family. That's that's why a lot of people go in the Fraser Valley, right, to live, because they don't want to live in Vancouver because they want space, right?
That's right. People move all the time. I've been in real estate for 12 years now, Jim, and since day one, I mean, that's been a very common move. People who want families, who want to start a family, and there's more than just one or two people. They look at Vancouver and they say, well, gosh, it's just completely unaffordable to raise a family here. So they've been moving out east to the Fraser Valley for forever. And one thing I'll just share as well as that is, even though prices have come down, 25, 30% in Vancouver, we still, the number one reason people are interprovincially migrating out of this province is because of the price of homes. And the number one place that they're going is, as you know, Alberta. I run AlbertaAmbassador.com. I move more people out of BC to that province than probably any other realtor. And when the number one thing that we hear is that, even though these prices have come down, like we're talking about, Jim, is to raise that family and to actually, lay down roots with incomes that are not like exceptional. It's too expensive. So I mean, it's all, the hens are coming home to roost, and you're seeing that happen with prices, or you were going to see that happen until we stepped in and bailed them out, Jim.
Yeah, and it's just that people don't have the luxury anymore, because I mean, I talk to too many people that say they can't afford to buy meat. You know what I mean? Like they're choosing between, putting gas in their car and putting food on the table. And so there's an option to move to Alberta, and Alberta has cheaper homes, obviously, cheaper no sales tax, and like they get to take home more of their money that they make. And yes, it's colder. Yes, it's but at some point, like you have to choose to put food on the table for your family, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. That's I mean, price and politics are the two reasons a lot of people are leaving Vancouver and the Fraser Valley and moving provinces. And price is a big one. I mean, we're still about twice as expensive as Alberta to buy the same home in comparable areas. So, yeah.
So lots of times when there's a surplus of inventory, they make deals with realtors. Has these condo developers went out to the realtors and say, "Hey, we'll spiff you guys so much if you sell these," or have they just been really
Oh,
stubborn on
yeah.
the pricing? Huh?
Oh, no. I mean, what they're doing is, I mean, just to be transparent. Yeah. I won't name names of developers, but there's some developers that have, let's just call it, very overpriced product, yet they're bonusing out us realtors, the ones who are representing the buyers in this case, anywhere from $5 or $10 or $20,000 per sale, which you would expect that to be a savings passed down to the buyer. But when you think about it, most realtors, and speaks to my industry right now, as bad as the housing market is, I'm the one like realtors are the ones that really feel it because we're the ones who immediately notice when the market changes. So, oh, sorry, was it? Lost my train of thought there, Jim.
Well,
Sorry,
just on the
we're just
spiffs there, they instead
oh, the
of
spiff.
giving
Yeah,
that.
sorry. Yeah, so the amount of spiffs that are out there, Jim, is huge. They're giving out spiffs on everything, and it's because us realtors, a lot of us are not selling much. Like I'm very blessed. We sell about 100 homes a year, but the average realtor right now is not selling anywhere near what they sold. So what developers are doing is they're recognizing this. They're seeing that the market sucks. People aren't buying, and realtors are very, very quiet right now. So they're incentivizing realtors to, like you said, with the spiffs, Jim, to bring people to those pre-sale developments. But in my opinion, I mean, I would say, just as a blanket statement, about 80% of these places I would never bring my clients to because the prices are insane. And even if you take the entire bonus money they're giving us realtors and pass it down to the client, I mean, they're still $100,000 over what I would tell my clients to pay.
Do you think that they're not moving down on the prices because they're worried about the people that have like bought the pre-sales, and they're worried, like somebody bought it at 800 and now the real price is around 5? Is that the bigger
Oh,
problem?
you nailed it. So here's what they won't even let you do. So let's pretend you bought a place here in my market in the Fraser Valley. So if you bought a pre-sale in the last few years, you would have a clause in your contract. Every contract would have this. It says you can assign your unit, which means you can sell your right to your pre-sale to somebody else before closing. But it would say you have to not market it. You can't even put it on sometimes Facebook, but you could put it on other platforms. But they did not want you advertising, because as soon as you advertise, you'd be advertising a price, Jim, of about 30% less than what they were currently listed for. So I can't tell you how many clients we came across who had pre-sales they bought with other realtors that had just tanked about 150K since they bought the pre-sale. They wanted to assign it with me as the realtor to sell it, but we couldn't sell it because we're like, well, yeah, it's worth 500. You bought it for 6. You can't market it under what you paid for it. So effectively, they're handicapping
It's
people. So
unsaleable property, right? So you're kind of like,
unsellable property. They're not liquid. Exactly.
yeah.
And then
So
the
that's
last thing.
yeah. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I was just say one last thing, Jim, is that one thing that what you're finding right now, the very last thing I'll mention on this is that lenders, this might be a whole other topic, but lenders have stepped in on pre-sales and they've offered what they call a blanket appraisal. So for your viewers, a blanket appraisal is when a developer goes to a building or lender, I should say, and they say, hey, we're going to go ahead and finance your building. And we're also going to go ahead and finance all your buyers at whatever price they purchased them at. And we're going to do a magic thing called a blanket appraisal. Tell me what that one makes sense to you, right? And everything will be perfectly magically appraised at whatever you paid for it when you close, and we'll give you the loan based on that. So that has been something that buyers have had to take advantage of in dozens of developments in the Fraser Valley where they've closed in the past year, Jim, and their actual market value is about 100,000 less than they paid for it. But the banks have stepped in, and with the magic stroke of their pen and whatever they want to say, they've said, oh, no, it's okay. We're going to say you're worth whatever just so you get the loan.
So that's interesting too, because if you did that in the regular market, like if you were buying a home, they would never do that, right? They would never do that for you if they knew that because they do the appraisal at the last moment there. They do the appraiser, and they're never
You
doing
know?
that. Yeah.
No, never. It's another magic tool that that exists, I guess you could say.
Magic tool for these certain people.
For certain people, yeah. The chosen ones.
For the lucky ones, right? For the lucky ones. Yeah, it sounds like they're looking for some chickens to pluck, really. And it sounds like the taxpayers, the chicken, they're really looking to pluck, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you said that right. That's about right. Yeah.
And I think people need to push back. I mean, that's why we do this show, right? Push back hard, raise your voice. Call any MLA, call every MLA. Like, I mean, you can go on our website, reallybigshow.ca. You can do a lookup, send it to your MPs, send it to your MLAs, and say we won't do this. Like, they're literally taking food off your table, and they're giving it to the select few, right? It's not right.
Not fair, Jim. It's not fair.
Someone asked if you sold 100 homes a year, and I just said in the comments that you said you sell 100, but you have a team. You have a team of that work for you, right?
Yeah, that's right. I have a team in the Fraser Valley. I've been in the business about 12 years, sold about 800 homes. So I've really seen it all. I've worked through the busy market when my average listing might get 20 to 40 offers per listing. Absolutely insane. I've worked through that market, and I've worked in the market now, which is, arguably the worst market in 40 years. So, I mean, I've seen it all, and I've never seen what's happened in the last couple of years, though. That's been something.
You're in Langley, or where are you at?
I'm in Langley. That's right. BC.
I went to grade 5 in Langley there, and on East Lake Crescent. I still remember the address, East Lake Crescent, in an apartment building there.
That's my old stomping ground, Jim. I was born and raised 2 blocks away, just in Langley City there, the same sub area exactly.
Went to the brick school there. I can't remember the school. It was like a brownstone. And my mom worked at Hilltop. You probably remember the Hilltop, right? In all
Hilltop Cafe, or
Hilltop Cafe, yeah. She worked there.
Yeah.
And she worked at the restaurant downtown, the Chinese Pagoda or something like that. It was.
They filmed the Butterfly Effect at that cafe with that famous movie. They filmed it at that cafe.
Well, there you go. Yeah, no, Langley was a beautiful place. We lived in Langley and Aldergrove, yeah. So,
well, I hope you come visit, Jim. It'd be a pleasure.
I heard that the Aldergrove Hilltop Cafe is closed down now, eh?
They're closed down, yeah. Unfortunately, they've been closed for a while, but they filmed many movies around there, actually, randomly enough. So
I went there a few years ago and had pie. I remember that restaurant all too well with my mom. Yeah, crazy. Small world, eh? I remember when Langley had city limits. Like, you went to Langley, then there was some Gap, and then there was Surrey. Now it's just like, who knows where you are, right?
Yeah, it was built right into each other. You can't even tell now. It's no differentiation.
Keep driving, and you'd think you're in Vancouver the whole time, right?
Pretty much. With traffic, yep.
Well, it's been great chatting with you, and hopefully I know that the single family homes are not hurting as bad as like the condos, and a lot of that condo stuff is it's not what people want at the end of the day, and people should buy what they want. And I think like a lot of times they get sucked into saying, oh, you can always move up. It's like buying that car that nobody else wants, buying a pink car or something like that is like a gremlin, and then some say, oh, you can get into this one now and we'll get you into something later. Like, who are you going to sell that car to?
Yeah, basically. That's a good analogy for it.
There you go. Thanks a lot, Corbin. And thanks
Jim.
For watching the show as well, too. Appreciate that.
Thanks so much. It's been a total honor. Thank you for having me, Jim. Appreciate it.
All right, cheers. And thank you for watching the Really Big Show and Now Media. Thank you.